Your
questions?
group, yeah, you've got the 3 experienced guys in that top 3. How do they look, and how are they bringing other guys along right now?
Yeah, so we've kind of started tweaking that field overhang spot, and it has and will continue to come out of multiple rooms.
Okay.
If we feel like we've got personnel that can handle it, sometimes it might come out of the linebacker room, i.e. Craig Young. Right now, Logan Brantley is really the one that we feel can fill that type of hybrid type role. The rest of those guys we look at being more of a base linebacker type body, right? But between Taiwan and JB and Cornell Wheeler, Cornell's really stepped up quite a bit with that Mike backer spot. They're all doing a good job. We're going to continue to improve in those areas to get those guys ready to go.
You saw him coming along last year, but what's it taken for Cornell to continue to step into more of that role?
I'll tell you what, and I've said this probably to you guys before, Cornell has as much feel, just true linebacker feel, as any of them, right? He's got some of the stuff that you don't really coach. You just kind of got a knack, right? But now he's really starting to get an understanding. He's been a rep guy, as we would say, a rep guy that has to get the reps so that he really knows it, and now he's starting to know. So he's a guy that other guys are going to and asking questions, which usually he was the guy asking questions. Now, I feel this too. When you have a guy like Rich Miller in the room, other guys almost say, well, he's the guy that kind of does all that, and then he's not here anymore, so guys will step up. You know what I'm saying? So we have to provide opportunities for that to happen, and I think Cornell's doing a great job of making that happen.
Does it feel weird without Rich for you and those guys?
Rich is like a son to me, okay? Because I, again, recruited him, had him at Buffalo, and had him here. But it's time for Rich to go do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for the guys that are here, okay, to be able to step into those kind of roles more than anything. So yeah, do I miss them? Yeah, but I'm excited for the guys that are here to be able to take on some of those leadership roles.
You talked about Logan at the Hawk. What does Gilliam do?
So obviously he's fighting through some injuries right now. I would see him as a Hawk. When I say Hawk, that's our base linebacker personnel group. Jason was playing that kind of hybrid spot. We feel that now he's really trying to transition to learning Hawk, Mike, Will, because ultimately I need to have more depth at every position. And as I've talked to you guys before about, we try to cross-train as many guys as we can. So being healthy, he really should be able to play across the board. At least that's the goal. But I would still see him as a Hawk, quite honestly. He could be a field outside backer, but right now we're going to focus on Logan being the 11 personnel Cinco, if that makes sense.
And when you guys change up some of your personnel, does Marvin Grant then come into the picture in any of that?
He would be the guy that we would look at as being that Cinco right now. Okay, so we're repping probably 5 guys right now at that position, but 4 of the 5 are coming out of the safety room, quite honestly.
With Logan, you spoke really highly of him, I think, during fall camp. Just what have you seen from him this spring and just over the course of the offseason?
In terms of how he moves around and runs, he's really, really good. Very athletic. Again, we feel like he can fill that hybrid type role, so he can be a backer when we need him to be a backer, but he can be kind of a spin down safety if we need him to do that. Right? He's a very emotional player. Okay, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. So his highs are high and his lows are low. So I'm working with him to try to find that happy medium so that he doesn't allow one play to affect the next. Because when he does that, and I do say when because I think he will, and he puts all that stuff together, he's going to be a tremendous player for us.
What's it like for you to see a guy like that or others that are, coming into that next step in their career, the progression and sort of that vibe that they're carrying, like, it's my time? What does that feel like as a coach, and how do you help them make sure it is their time?
Well, I guess as a coach, you always try to encourage guys to not wait for it to be my time. Okay, you got to make it be your time. And this is not a program necessarily where it's like, hey, you just got to sit around and wait your turn. We're trying to get guys ready to play as quick as possible. You know what I'm saying? We saw that in recruiting, and we meet it. When we were at Buffalo, I had a freshman that started every game from his freshman year up until the time that we left. So we will play young guys if they're ready to play, right? But like I said, some guys, they just naturally allow others to lead or take those roles, and then they say, okay, now it's my chance. And I think guys generally step up when those things happen.
Hey, Chris, you've always done well recruiting Detroit and Michigan. Is it easier now to sell with the success that you're having here?
It is. And when you go and hit the streets, so to speak, and get in and out of those buildings, there's a little bit more name recognition. It's not an afterthought, because I think Kansas probably was, not just in Michigan, but probably in a lot of places. And I think people are actually starting to take us a little bit more seriously, like it's a viable option, right? And I'll just be honest with you, probably the hardest time is in the state. It's probably easier out of state right now, and I've said this before, I've said this to you guys. Guys in the state know too much. They know the history, right? We're trying to change that history, and I think we are. So now we got to start to capitalize on some of the guys within the state of Kansas. Again, I don't have a recruiting area in the state, but there's guys in the state that I'm actively trying to recruit, that we have to be able to get over the top with some of those guys.
When you talk about Cornell having a feel you can't coach, are there any examples that come to mind that illustrate that at all?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
When you mentioned Cornell having a feel that you can't really coach, is there anything that comes to mind, examples at all?
I guess it's just a knack to be able to get to the ball. I think that he will be able to make some plays, right? Where some guys are going to get to where they need to get to because that's where they're supposed to be, and it might, secure the structure of the defense, but then do they have that actual playmaking ability? You know what I'm saying? So I think he'll be a guy that sometimes we say sometimes guys are going to be erasers. You know what I'm saying? Where like something ain't exactly right, Cornell will have some ability to be able to fix some things that ain't exactly right. He can be a little bit of an eraser because he has that knack, that feel that I'm talking about.
Where do you see JB like compared to fall camp? Let's do that comp.
Yeah, he's way ahead of that. Okay, again, just because of his understanding. Extremely physical player, plays downhill, another guy that can make some plays. But at times, especially the first half of the season last year, he would be out there in certain situations and he was kind of just a see ball, get ball guy, which, again, you have an opportunity to make some plays doing that, but sometimes you can compromise the defense when you're doing that. Now he's where he's supposed to be and continue to be able to make some of those plays. So he's like, I'm really fired up about JB and what he's going to be able to do for us.
The physicality doesn't take a dip or anything like that when you become more cerebral?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's even, it shows up more because now you can even play faster. There's less indecision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there's less indecision now. It's more of a freaking react and go. So I don't think that'll subside at all.
You guys found ways to get JB involved in the pass rush, especially early last season. Is that something you foresee continuing to do going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, whether he's just rushing off the edge or inside or whatever, we have to be better blitzers in general. Okay, in the linebacker room, we have to do a better job at blitzing. But again, JB, because he's so big and strong, when he goes, he's able to make some things happen just because of how explosive he is. So yeah, I think we'll still try to utilize him.